I'm out here at Gravestone Range doing a little bit of last minute touch up for NRL Hunter, and I wanted to film this because this is something that Ryder and I were talking about yesterday, and that's being clipped in on a tripod versus using tripod rear with the triple pull in the front. And we were kind of going back and forth about it. He was telling me what he's found, and so I decided, I was like, why don't I just come out and test it for myself and see? So what I want to do is set up like this mock stage, tripod in hand, and I'm going to run up one shot, and it's to see what is, I'm looking for four things. How efficient am I getting on target with the setup, you know, setting up the triple pull and then the tripod rear versus just clipping into the tripod, you know, getting the right height, looking at wobble zone, looking at recoil management, and then just, you know, am I more accurate that way? Do I group well? Do I have any point of impact shift that I noticed there? So that's what I'm doing. Point of impact will be kind of hard to tell because we're shooting at distance here, but I'll try it on paper as well before I leave. But this is kind of what I'm doing today. Wanted to check and see before I go to NRL Hunter, so I have a bit of a game plan. So I'm going to run that. I've already been out here doing a little bit of grouping, so you guys will see some of that where I was just making sure, testing this new Phalanx ammo, which is actually, I'm glad I tested it because it's 100 feet per second faster than what I was shooting at the PRS match, which is good. And then just making sure zero is still zeroed. And so I had to make a few minor adjustments because of the faster velocity, realigning the laser with the new zero. So all those little things, and then checking data out to distance. But let's get into the test. I'm gonna go one more tripod clipped in, but this time I'm gonna go a little bit lower than what I've been going. I think I'm just too high and the gap is too big for me to fill, and it's kind of awkward. So I think maybe that's why I don't like it as much. So we'll try one more just to see, but I think I might like triple pull better with the rear tripod, but we'll see. So I'm not 100% sold on either one yet. Something I'm gonna have to dry fire some more, but yeah, there's pros and cons to both. Like being able to transition the tripod, being able to move around, you have more flexibility to move there, but tripod rear feels very, very like rock solid and locked in personally. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just the way that I shoot. With this stock, I can't get the tripod further out. So on some others that have the full length ARCA, you can slide the tripod further out and lengthen that, your 2 points of contact, which might help because I feel a little contracted there where I'm like too tight. And then I think I'm still getting my height wrong as far as the height of the tripod. So I don't know, I need to mess with it some more. I'm not used to going one knee up, so that's also different. I'm used to going 2 knees down. It just feels more stable for me, especially in windy conditions. So this is something that I'm gonna have to dry fire and just make a game time decision. So, but I'm gonna get some data to make sure we're tracking out the distance. Okay, we're tracking there. .8. Okay, I think that's going to be half a mil. Good. Data is tracking out to 1426, which is very encouraging. But again, for whatever reason I miss or I perform poorly, solely on me, not on any of the equipment. But I'm gonna go try to check zero one more time, just confirm zero hasn't shifted. I don't think it has, I would have seen it in the data. And to make sure velocity is still stable at what it was. And hopefully I can show you guys a group. I don't know if there's anybody on the zero range. If there is nobody, I will show you guys a group. If there is, I gotta get out of here. We are back out on the range and filming over here because I don't want to disturb the guys that are trying to zero and practice or whatever. But after getting back home, looking at the footage, comparing what I saw on camera versus what I felt, I wanted to do another test, and I talked with Ryder about it and a couple other guys, and I wanted to take some time to dry fire first at home some of the things I wanted to refine before I gave a definitive comparison, and I wanted to put it on paper and I want to show. So today at 100 yards, I'm going to do tripod rear with the bipod, and then I'm going to do tripod clipped in, and then I'm also going to do a prone. That way you have a comparison of each, and I want to see what recoil looks like. I mean, obviously groupings, but more so what recoil does, because even if it groups well, like Ryder was saying, even if it groups well, but you can't see your impacts, you can't make a good correction based off what you saw, then it really doesn't matter. So that's what I'm working on today before I make my definitive decision, and then the match is tomorrow. So kind of pushing it to the edge right here, but bring you guys along, got the trigger cam so you guys can see all that. It does not like these 156s.
Now that I've had time to review the footage and combine that with what I felt and what I saw on range, the best option for me going into NRL Hunter at Freestone is going to be triple pull up front and tripod rear. Now, I'll give reasons for this in just a second, but I do want to note one thing that a lot of you are probably going to notice and comment on, and that's the recoil of the gun. So if you notice the trigger cam, the gun comes off target quite a bit. And this is something that I'm going to have to get used to with this new setup because one, it is a lighter gun. So it is suppressed. I don't have a recoil X on there. I don't have a brake on the front. It is truly suppressed, and it is a lighter gun that I'm used to shooting, and I haven't shot in, almost a year. So I won't say I haven't shot, but I haven't shot competitively in almost a year. So still some rust to shake off. Not excuses, but just something that I'm going to have to adapt to, and something I'm going to have to get used to is shooting this particular gun. Because the recoil impulse is different than when I had the Night Stalker on there. Even though it's only like a 2 to 3 pound difference, there is a difference in how it recoils. The other part of it is going to be the bipod that I'm running on the front. Now, I'll dive more into this in a separate video because I want to do a full review on this bipod setup. But because those legs are carbon, they have flex in them. And if you put any kind of rotational flex in there, because the gun is lighter, when that recoil goes up, or when the gun wants to go up because it is so light, that flex in there, that rotational flex in the legs, suddenly turns into like a spring or like a whip, and it wants to turn the gun the other way or the direction that that tension is coming from. So if you don't set up your natural point of aim straight on target, if you're slightly off and you have to shift the gun a little bit, you're going to get that. And that's what you see in some of those shots where the gun recoils hard left or hard right. And that was something that I wasn't used to and I wasn't expecting because the traditional triple pull legs don't have that. And again, we'll talk more about this in a future video once I have more time with it and I'm able to mess with it some more and work on it and dry fire and live fire. But I do want to note that before I get into why I chose triple pull with tripod rear. The reason I think that's the best option for me is because I'm able to, because again, recoil management isn't super great right now, because I'm able to drive the gun back on target. So with gas gun, one thing we talk a lot about is in recoil when you're shooting fast splits is you have to really steer the gun back on target to get those fast splits and make hits. With this gun, with the setup of the triple pull in the front and the tripod rear, if I come off target, I can get back on target faster than if I have it clipped into the tripod, because the tripod, the whole thing skips, the whole tripod skips or comes up or slides. And because the clamp is so tight, or the ball head, I don't close it all the way, but it is still pretty tight. I can't drive the gun back on target, and it's not as refined. It's usually big jumps and I'm either too far or like I'm way down or way to the right or left. So it's more difficult for me to drive the gun back to try to spot an impact or a miss. And that's something that's going to require more time training to solidify and to refine. And I just don't have the time tomorrow to do that before a match. So I think the best option for me is do what I know and that I have more experience with, which is triple pull front, tripod rear. I do think that the tripod clipped in is more accurate. However, because of the weight of the gun and how I use the tripod and the limitations of that stock not being able to slide the ARCA further out, I think that limits me using that to some degree and still getting used to adjusting the height. So there's just too many variables there for me to feel confident or comfortable using that as my go-to or main means of support at this match. Now the option is I could use a bag underneath there. I did try using a bag under the elbow and filling that gap, but as I mentioned in the video, I'm not used to shooting off of one knee up. So that felt weird. I've got a Spectre on the way, so a Spectre bag from Everly Stock. So I think I could use that because it has a frame, use the back of that to help support the gun, but that turns into essentially tripod rear. And again, that's one of the reasons I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go triple pull front, tripod rear, and see how it goes. And then after the match, I'll have time before my next one that I can practice that some more and refine it and just see how things go. But that's the conclusion I've come to. So if you have comments about it, if there's something you think I could do better in those, if you've tried this, if you've tested it for yourself, what conclusion did you come to? Leave that in the comments down below. Make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, crunch up that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video, and I will see you guys in the next one.